Hello, Coffee with Keith. And today, I have a very interesting personality with us. Somebody who has worked with a lot of brands across India, locally, internationally. She's worked with so many brands and created powerful, successful stories. She has more than 25 years of experience doing this, and she's been an awesome branding expert. He has worked a lot. She's worked with a lot of different brands. So without me putting in or taking in a lot of time, I would want to welcome Sonali Kande Brahma. Sonali ji, welcome to Coffee with Kirti. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much, Kirti, for inviting me here. I'm sure we are going to have a very nice chat about brands and branding.
Definitely.
And today, I think, seems to be a very good day because we are just 3 days from the lockdown being lifted. I hope so. And that even in a better mood.
Well, we'll see about the lockdown, what happens with that. But, diving directly into the question, Sonali, I would like to, understand your journey. You've been working with different brands, across different domains, traditionally and digitally also, right? So, can you
Right.
let our audience know about, what your work comprises of, what all are the things that you do when you take up a brand and how what but before that, first tell us about the journey, how you started and how you arrived at where you are right now. What is the journey?
Okay. Yeah. So, Kirti, taking you back to those, beginning years, 25 years back. I mean, it's been a long journey.
Huh?
Yeah, but uh, 25 years back is when we didn't have the digital era that we have today.
Absolutely.
So it was a completely traditional space where we were into traditional advertising,
Mm.
and uh, and we also didn't have so many brands in so many different industries at that time because it was more of a, the liberalization was just about to start or had just started.
Mm.
So brand was not as much in vogue at that time as advertising was.
Uh-huh.
So that's where my journey began. So it was the term that we used back then was advertising,
Uh-huh.
which was traditional advertising, mass media. So you were working on print advertising, radio, TV, and hoardings and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, so typically, if you were keen on entering what we call as the branding space, then you had to start with advertising.
Okay.
So I started with advertising in the creative department. Of course, I worked with agency because that's how you learn, working with teams
Right.
before you start out on your own. And much before that, actually, I also have a corporate kind of background because I did my MBA marketing. And after that, I worked with corporates. In fact, I worked with a Tata company and then later with a startup,
Uh-huh.
which was not a startup. I mean, the startup word or term did not exist back then. Yeah, but it was a good product. And after that, what happened was I kind of realized that during my stints with the corporate also, somewhere I think my bosses back then also saw that I had this inclination towards creatives.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when I was not working as a product manager, and I'm talking about Rallies India. So I was working with Rallies India, your Tata company,
Mhm.
and they got me involved in the creative side of things,
Mhm.
where I was there for the presentations made by agencies
Oh wow.
to that company. Okay, so this side of the table,
Right.
and then that's where I started realizing that probably my calling was more towards the creative side of things, which I would say advertising.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so eventually I think I started as a writer
Okay.
with ad agencies,
Okay.
and that's learned the ropes. Also, I actually studied copywriting in a slightly informal atmosphere with a person who was the expert back then, who was Captain Rowe. Not many people know him today, but he was the guru and he was the copy chief of Pratibha Advertising, which was an old ad agency, but a very very famous one in Pune back then.
Okay.
And this was around the 1996-7. That's where I went to him and studied the art of copywriting.
Okay.
And that's when I also realized that copywriting is not just an art and craft, but it is also a science.
Right.
Okay, so and this science is where I speak about the strategic part of advertising.
Okay.
So that's where I learned the ropes. Then I joined ad agencies. I worked with them in the creative departments. And yeah, fortunately, I also, produced some effective advertising, which is why I rose up the ladder
Okay.
and became a creative director and eventually even started handling brands and teams.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so when I was in Pune at that time, I realized that it was a case of, you could only go as far as I went. Because in my first year in one ad agency, I won 14 awards,
Oh,
which
wow.
was a stint. Yeah, and that was my first stint in an ad agency as a writer. And we won awards for writing as well as ideation.
Wow.
And that's how probably yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful moment. And that's how actually maybe my brand spread automatically. And then I started receiving calls from people asking me to work on their brands, so which was called typically freelancing in those days. Yeah, so and fortunately agencies allowed you to freelance provided there was no conflict of interest.
Right. Right.
While working in an ad agency, I was still able to work on other brands. Okay, that's how actually I got a taste of being on my own. And I realized that probably in a Pune kind of atmosphere I have reached a plateau,
Okay.
and I need to now break myself away from a very job kind of situation and launch on my own.
Okay.
And that I think was the turning point, because it made me realize a lot of things about my own strengths. So while I was working in the creative, I saw that the brands I worked with, clients, were not aware of the strategy behind advertising.
Okay.
So they gave you a job to do. They said that, okay, we want to do a brochure. Okay. So when they said we want to do a brochure, they automatically assume that I'll just pick up my pen and paper or my computer and start typing stuff, and come up with some fancy words.
Uh-huh.
But that was not the case. I started asking questions. Now that's where I probably, that B school background and my, learning with Captain Rowe came to the fore, and I started asking questions. And that's when they also probably realized that, hey, it's not as simple as writing some fancy words.
Right.
And yeah, well, so what that how that made a difference was that the kind of creatives that I produced were effective creatives
Wow.
that got them results. Yeah. So that's also when I realized that I should be charging for strategy.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
Yes.
yeah.
So, Sonali, talking about copyrights, for your information, I have an experience in copywriting for one day. Just one day. Just one day.
I'm sure it is interesting. Yeah.
I know that one day was a very difficult day for me. I know, like, when you say, copywriting is not just an art, it's just not drafting some words and stuff, and it's more scientific. It's got a lot of background to it. I totally agree with you, because I that one day of experience just told me I'm not made for this. This is not my cup of tea, right? So I can understand.
Yeah. Okay.
So tell me about I'd like to ask a two-pronged question here. First, tell me about the
Yeah.
brands that you've been working with, right? Name some, brands that you've been working with. And the follow-on question is, what have been the difficulties working with, a brand that has a lot of money or a brand that doesn't have money? What are the challenges, right? Working with companies, bigger companies, startups, so that's a follow-on question. First question is, please tell us, what are the brands that you've been working with? How has the experience been? So what do you have to say about
Okay. Right. So, Kirti, the great part of this journey has been that I have been able to work with so many different brands
that?
across different industries. Okay. So, while I will also tell you about the brands that I've worked with, I would first like to start off with the industries that I have been able to work with.
Okay.
So, starting way back then, we had real estate and education. Okay. So, Symbiosis was one of the clients that I've worked with.
Mhm.
Real estate, of course, the whole world was in real estate at that time. uh, and yeah, so real estate, education, healthcare, hospitality,
Mhm.
um, retail.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
uh, right from growing a homegrown brand into a mall of sorts.
Mhm.
Then I don't know whether I said travel.
Mhm.
I have done engineering also. I'm not an engineer myself,
Okay.
but I have worked with Thermax on their technical journal
Oh.
as an associate editor, which was extremely challenging. Okay.
uh,
I have worked with IT. Okay. Again, I don't understand IT as much as the IT guys do. Of course, I'm not a geek or a nerd or whatever you call. Uh, and yeah, FMCG, of course. I mean, all these. So I think I must have mentioned about 7 to 8 industries.
yes.
And some of the brands that are top of the mind for me in B2B is Mahindra and Mahindra,
Mhm.
Thermax, Standwick, a little bit of Bobst at that time. Uh, yeah, these are B2B. Then in healthcare, I worked on the launch of our Ospene, which was Oyster and Pearl. I have done very, very close work with Oyster and Pearl.
Okay.
And there are a few brands in the healthcare industry which are from the UAE that I've worked with.
Okay.
Uh, in travel, I can name SOTC, which I have worked with very closely. Then in retail, I have worked with, in the digital space, I have worked on W Woman, that brand. Um, yeah, I think that's what I remember right now. I
Okay.
mean, it's been
Okay.
so many brands. That, yeah. And your second question was the challenges.
Challenges. Yeah. Challenges about
Right,
working with brands.
right, correct. So, Kirti, yes, there are challenges, and I don't think it's all about money necessarily.
Okay.
But when we are talking about startups, money, I think, is definitely the challenge. Okay, budgets are very, very low.
Correct.
And so it is very difficult for a startup to really spend that kind of money that is required, even to create awareness or outreach.
Right.
The second challenge I have faced with startups is that they are very product focused.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, product focused and sales focused. I mean, I completely understand that without sales, they are not going to get their working capital or operational. The cash flows are not going to be in.
Absolutely.
But because of that, they kind of have some blinders on, and the branding bit is completely lost on
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
them. If fortunately the startup starts breaking even at about 3 years after its journey has started,
Uh-huh.
that's the time that they realize that they haven't done any kind of branding
Right. Right.
which they should have done back then.
Absolutely.
Even if they had done a 10-20% of their efforts in branding back then, it
Absolutely.
probably fetched them better results.
Right. 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 Right.
So these are the challenges I face with startups.
Okay.
With the bigger companies, uh, I think even with the medium-sized companies, it depends on which sector the company is into, okay, and what kind of teams they have, uh, and therefore the challenges are different in the mid-sized segment.
Okay. Okay.
In the bigger companies, I have seen that integration of efforts is the challenge in branding.
Okay. Okay.
So, this is a very real kind of incident that happened with one of the companies in IT.
Okay.
There was a team of marketing team was of 8 people, okay,
Okay.
and they have their offices in Pune and across the US. Okay, so big company, Indian homegrown company, but big company.
Okay.
And the manager had identified the problem as, we are not able to do Google ads effectively.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so that was the starting discussion I had with her.
Okay.
I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions.
Uh-huh.
And after she answered all those questions, and after I spent a little time working with their marketing team,
Uh-huh.
I found out that the individuals were doing the effort very effectively and efficiently,
Okay.
but there was no integration happening,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Understood.
So the efforts, yeah. So the efforts were wasted. So problem identification could be one of the challenges that I face, or that a client comes across as when I talk to the larger companies.
Okay. Okay.
So my job begins in helping them identify the problem,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and
Understood.
that's where the whole journey.
Right, right. I think it is definitely about problem identification in lot of even I'm a startup guy, so I understand where you're coming from, because if you don't understand the problem, then how are you going to really get a solution out of it, right? So
Absolutely.
so tell me about this, Sonali. When a company comes and reaches out to you, right? Whether it's a small startup or a bigger company, how do they reach you out? How do they really get in touch with you? And once they contact you, what is the process? What happens after that? So definitely you start asking questions and all of that, and then what is the process? How do you take that process and build a brand identity for them, right? And some people might already be
Yeah,
having established kind of a brand
brand. Yeah.
market, but and some people, like you said, like startups, they don't really care so much in the early days about the brand. They're more focused about the product and sales. So what is that process that you take them through while you build their brands?
Okay. So how do they reach you is a question that I think uh, all over these years, it's been more of a word of mouth
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. And fortunately, Kirti, you will be probably very surprised to see that I don't think I have spent a lot of money on marketing
Okay. Okay.
uh, for myself, right? I have definitely spent uh, human hours on branding,
Uh-huh.
okay, which in the last so many years, I think about 10 to 12 years, right from 2008 or slightly before that, I have started being very, very active on LinkedIn.
Okay. Okay.
So LinkedIn to me is the primary source, and of course I'm not saying it's second, but along with that it is word of mouth.
Okay.
And word of mouth is not just from my friends and family or whatever, but it is from people who have found, my work effective in helping them achieve their objectives. So
Mhm.
that's how it's been the reach,
Okay.
right? And yeah, the second thing you want to know about is my process,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's very simple. They reach out to me either via a LinkedIn message or an email
Hmm.
or a phone call,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, or even maybe a WhatsApp. So
Okay.
after that, we have a preliminary discussion and maybe a round of discussions to identify the problem area or the opportunity area, and then the scope of work.
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
So I spent a lot of time on the online, a lot of time online with them
Okay.
on identifying the scope of work.
Okay.
Okay, I have a very, very, you might call it a slightly crazy philosophy, pre-COVID, course, but that has really worked for me.
Okay.
So online, till you identify the scope of work, okay,
Mm-hmm.
because before that, I have already built the credentials and trust with them.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I have seen that the trust is built much before they get in touch with me.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
they have that bent mind. The idea is that they would like to work with me.
Uh-huh.
So I capitalize on that. I identify the scope of work and then directly get into the quotation bit.
Mm-hmm.
If depending on how hot warm the inquiry is really.
Okay.
And yeah, after the quotation, then we have a discussion. And then ideally, the first meeting is directly about work and not about commercials.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So that's how it works. Okay. Now, when I mentioned the pre COVID era and how I prefer to do things,
Mm-hmm.
is I have read that it is very, very important for your success to say no to a lot of meetings. Now, here, what I'm doing is I say no to a lot of physical meetings, like face to face. We are even doing face to face now,
Right.
but offline things is a no for me
Mm-hmm.
till I know that this is really going to, be a win-win situation for both the brands.
Got it.
So mine and theirs.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's the process, Kirti.
Okay, okay, okay. Awesome, awesome. So, I also happen to teach at some business schools, fortunately, and I get to talk about branding sometimes, with regards to
Okay.
specifically with regards to startups. And one of the things I always tell startups is branding starts even before you launch your product, right?
Correct.
Because
Absolutely. Yeah.
branding starts with day one, from the
Yeah.
time you start, talking about your product, the name of your product and the logo about, and all of that. But again, some people really get obsessed with that. Some people get
Uh,
obsessed with naming, their company or their product so much that they forget the whole, process of connecting with the customer, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you suggest, or what is your expert advice to, whether it's startups or any company who is starting off or who has already started off? Should they be obsessed about things that are, really formality? And what is the main thing that they should focus on, rather than, getting too much with, what name, how the logo should look? I read somewhere, if you're not selling rainbows, just don't have too many colors in your brand, right? So
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
People
Absolutely.
get obsessed. People get obsessed with this branding stuff sometimes. So what is it that people should really, focus on when it comes to
Okay. So, see, branding is a very misleading term. Okay. Uh, but it is also a kind of term that is used in place of brand building.
branding? Right, right,
So, yeah.
yeah.
So, branding actually means brand identity,
Mm-hmm,
which is the logo and the name.
mm-hmm,
Actually, if you look at it, but creating a brand is about brand building,
right.
right? So, my advice to all companies, irrespective of whether they are a startup or not, and launching a new product, is that first they should know what their brand stands for.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And the moment you get into this exercise, you are definitely going to address all the five W's and one H questions.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
Right,
and therefore, once they start answering those questions,
right.
at the end of that exercise, they will have arrived at what the brand stands for.
Uh-huh,
The next step being the elevator pitch.
uh-huh.
And then the third step is creating the brand experience that lives up to all the exercise that we have done so far.
Okay, okay, okay.
And branding, which when you're saying name and logo, is a part of the brand experience.
Right, right. Definitely,
So
definitely.
that's the, yeah, percentage. They should decide on the obsession percentage of
Got
of
it, got it, got it.
brand experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's all about storytelling, and it's about bringing the
correct,
right message and consistently bringing that message out to the customer, right? So,
correct.
great to know about, so many things, so much you're talking about brands and everything, Sonali. I also read in your bio that you work with heroes. You work as the branding expert and the community manager for Shiros. What is your work with Shiros? How do you work? What is that all about?
Okay. So Shiro's, so this was again one of my interest areas. You know, Shiro's launched earlier as a Flexi Moms. It was called Flexi Moms,
Okay.
and the word Moms itself gave me a kind of, I mean, pulled me to the brand
Mm-hmm.
where I started writing for them as a Flexi Mom would, okay, and as a Shiro's, possibly call it an ambassador.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, Shiro's earlier had a mentor board.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this, I am part of that mentor board. Yeah. With the mentoring happened online.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It was online through the Shiro's platform. And and the community manager was for Pune.
Uh-huh.
So this was roughly a year and a half back. Now our community in Pune is at a WhatsApp community, okay, where I'm still managing the WhatsApp community because we actually went online in Pune and we stopped doing the personal meets that used to happen in.
Okay.
And this community of Shiros is really of, the way Shiros started was, it was a community for urban working professionals,
Okay.
women.
Okay.
And I think since I was, an early member of Shiros and I led the community in Pune. Today it's one of India's Shiros India's buzzing community. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that was probably the only buzzing WhatsApp community of Shiros.
Okay.
And eventually Shiros moved to an app.
Right.
Our Pune guys, our Pune ladies have refused to move to the app. They say that this WhatsApp is a fantastic, and we don't want to get out of this WhatsApp group. So that's how I'm still managing the Pune community on WhatsApp.
Okay. Okay.
And I think it's a wonderful thing because I can see a lot of support coming on that community from our Shiro's members, and it's still buzzing with help, with queries, with everything that a woman professional wants.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So not just heroes, not just women entrepreneurs, not just brands. You work even with students, right? You
Yeah,
mentor a lot of students. You even teach at different B schools, different business schools.
yeah,
So tell me about that
right.
experience. Tell me about your communication, your interaction with students, your interaction with institutions. What has that been? How has that added value to your life, and how have you added value to the students in general?
Right. So actually, it's a two-way street for me when I interact with students, and not just as a student mentor,
Uh-huh.
but when I started teaching at Symbiosis, that's also my alma mater, SIBM Pune.
Mhm.
I realized that we kind of built each other up. So you are there, right there at the trend of the millennials or the young generation,
Mhm.
and you're learning from them while they're learning from you.
Absolutely.
That's also where you can really impact the young impressionable minds of really what matters in the world of branding or advertising,
Right.
while also uh, probably making a little difference in their lives of really what matters in life.
Right. Right.
So I think this mentoring is something that is an inherent part of me, Kirti.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very happy mentoring actually whosoever, seeks out me as a mentor, because I always believe that a mentee seeks out a mentor.
Correct.
And that's why I launched Student Mentor, because it's been 15 years since I am teaching at these schools,
Uh-huh.
and I handle entire courses. I'm not just a guest speaker.
Right. Right.
So when I realized that students need a lot of mentoring
Right.
for their student journey, as well as professional, as well as personal. So it's a lot of mixed up stuff. You know how the younger generation is today.
Right.
And that's when I started mentoring, and I launched a very pro bono kind of initiative, Student Mentor, on Facebook.
Mhm.
Okay, all the people today are on Instagram, but I've still kept Student Mentor on Facebook,
Okay.
because those who are really keen, they will follow me on Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
And the wonderful part, actually, a little surprising part to this is that a lot of students engage with me on phone and email,
Okay.
and not directly on the page.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Maybe because they are a little hesitant in revealing what they are seeking
Right.
on the page and open to public.
Right. Right. I think it's more
So that,
personalized. I think it's more
yeah,
personalized as well, right? I think the interaction just gets more easier and stuff. Now, getting back to branding, I have one question about your uniqueness. Why should a company be working with you? Because there are a lot of brand strategists, there are a lot of brand experts, branding experts, and all of that. What is that you are bringing differently to the table? What is that uniqueness that you bring to the table? So that why I
yeah,
want you to answer this, Sonali, is also a lot of our audience is startup based people. We also have people who are in different levels of their company, in terms of financial achievements. Now I want you to let us know that what is that difference that you bring to the table. How is your unique strategy going to help my company make more money, and also not just money, but also build that credibility in the market?
okay, yeah, absolutely. So the the main difference, which we call as USP, which is got to be unique and one,
Mhm.
is the left and the right brain together in one person.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
Which is extremely difficult. And I can say that with absolute clarity, because when I was leading as the creative director, or even heading the digital marketing at an agency where I got to hire a lot of people, I saw that one of the things was missing in most of the people. For
Okay.
example, if I wanted to hire a business manager, or what we call as a suit,
Uh-huh.
in an ad agency,
Uh-huh.
he would be completely focused on strategy without being able to see how you carry that forward to the creative side.
Uh-huh.
And if I hired a creative person,
Uh-huh.
then his I could see very clearly that his or her lack of knowledge of strategy
Uh-huh.
was extremely evident.
Okay. Okay.
So, so this is when I was hiring, and I have seen across when I go to companies also that this is what has actually this is probably the difference in the other strategists as well as me.
Awesome. 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 So, two more questions I have. One is, how are you coping the COVID-19 pandemic? How is your work being affected? Are you being more productive now, or this lockdown is kind of draining you off? What is the situation?
Okay, so this is a lot to do with probably so just to answer very shortly, I don't see a huge difference in this, during the COVID times in my work or productivity,
Okay.
simply because I have always been, a very Soho kind of fan.
Okay.
Okay, I have never believed in having an office,
Uh-huh.
separate office for my things. I have always kept a lean team
Okay.
and worked with partners more than hiring people.
Okay.
So this has not really impacted me in the way it has impacted people with physical offices, right? Uh, the main impact I have seen is actually positive.
Okay.
So the thing is now people, so whether it is my associates or my clients,
Uh,
or it could be agencies with whom I work, who are my clients, I have seen that there is a newfound respect
uh-huh.
of, work from home, and an understanding of the challenges,
Right.
and an understanding of the fact that probably we are expecting too much from a person who is probably doing a soho.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I think
So
go ahead, go ahead. Tell me.
yeah, sorry, you were saying something. I think I just lost the connection.
That's yeah. So basically, I was saying, see, remote work is, I think, going to be the future of work, and working from home or working from an office anywhere is going to be, not a problem. I think it's more about getting the job done wherever you are in the,
Absolutely.
right.
Correct, correct.
If you can deliver the work, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Now, this is the last question I want to ask you. What is the big picture? What is the vision that Sonali Kurande Brahma has for herself? And I've also, read in your bio about, helping the disabled, helping the underprivileged people with, a lot of help and stuff. So I want you to tell me about two things. One is the bigger vision for your branding strategies, to be the branding expert, to be that legendary branding person. That's one. And follow on question is your social aspect of life.
Okay. So, yeah, in fact, I think I have my answer to this is going to be a single sentence
Uh-huh.
where it's an answer to both your questions.
Okay.
And when you say social, I think the social work aspect, that's what you're saying, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, in fact, I'll just quote a sentence that I stand for.
Okay.
So, so when I do my bio, when I send my bio to people, there is a sentence at the end, okay, which says she is at the happy intersection
Uh,
of where passion, purpose, and profession meet.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The vision for me since a few years back, actually, and you will appreciate that as we grow in experience, we actually start climbing that ladder, which is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Uh-huh.
and we get into a phase where, or a stage where we are looking at the self actualization.
Right.
And that doesn't mean, Kirti, that I'm not looking at profits, okay? Because that's where the profession word comes in my sentence, okay,
Right.
which is the vision of my company. Here, there is one addition, like I said, is the planet.
Uh,
So, is at the happy intersection of passion, where passion, purpose, profession, and planet meet.
okay. Okay.
My vision is to work for sustainable brands, for
Uh-huh.
brands who are in the sustainable space.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So that has always been my vision. And I think that answers your second question of the social work. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I have already been doing this part uh, by actually delivering the needful to the underprivileged or people in need or brands in need
Uh-huh.
through my capabilities.
Okay.
So I have also been the editor of a newsletter for one of our Pune companies, which is Save Pune Traffic.
Oh, wow.
It's PTM. So we actually that is a little, because we all are busy people, but we have tried our best to get that newsletter out.
Uh-huh.
Okay, where I've been the editor, and it's completely pro bono.
Okay.
And so similarly, I really, now I think I am going to really sit at that junction where I would like to choose the brands that I want to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to work with the brands that also have a slightly deeper purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it.
Like also where the Shiro's thing came in, you know.
Yeah. So you're one.
So that,
I think you're that one brand expert or branding expert who really is looking for deeper purpose, deeper meaning, working with sustainable brands, and looking at even while we are in this pandemic, we understand that Mother Earth needs more sustainable products, more sustainable brands to be made. And I think people
yeah,
like you are adding a lot of value by looking at the world from a different, very different perspective, from an angle where Mother Earth is more important than making sales, than making money. Money is important. Money is important, but
yeah,
from a
but not
sustainable.
ignoring this aspect.
Yes, yes. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you, Sonali. Thanks so much for being on Coffee with Kirti. I really appreciate a lot of good things that you have shared with us. I think this is going to be very useful for our audience to understand how brands work. What is that branding, approach that one should have. Thank you so very much for being on Coffee with Kirti. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kirti. It was wonderful talking to you. And I really hope that we can together work towards this wonderful future that I can see for brands.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Sonali. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.